What's up, guys? So I'm out here in the snow. It is pretty windy. I'm gonna get some footage of the kids sledding, see how this thing handles the wind. It is snowing actively right now. There we are. Let's get this thing up in the air, see how it goes. Where the heck is this thing going?
What are you doing?
Whoa, where'd it go?
How are you doing that?
I'm not.
I think it's gone.
Oh, it's coming down now.
I see him.
It's like out of my control. What's up, guys? This is Chris with Half Chrome. It has been snowing out, and I've always wondered, can I fly through the snow? Is that safe? What should I do to prep my drone for that? So we're going to try a couple things today to get a drone ready. I didn't want to fly one of my favorite drones and try this out because I knew it could get wet, which could obviously kill the drone. So I grabbed this guy. It's like an overgrown Anafi with a mismatched battery in this case. This is the Flyhaul FX1. Actually, it's a relabeled MJX Bugs 16. I picked this because we've got a couple of these we could spare to lose one, but also it has pretty good camera quality. So I want to get some decent footage out of it. So we'll find out what did I do to prep this thing. It involved taking it apart, putting it back together, and we'll find out if it worked. Well, it doesn't work. One of the things I did was actually conformal coat all the boards in here to prep it. You may have seen FPV pilots do that on FPV drones just to make sure they're safe if they end up in the water or just get wet with a little bit of rain or something. So I did that here, and if you know anything about how these drones work, you might already be on to what I did wrong. Let's see if this guy here knows. I have no idea. Let's give him another try. Maybe he figures it out. All right, so I think I know what the problem is. All right, guys, so make sure you stick around. I'll show you all the stuff I did. I will show you what we did wrong. Jack will show you what he did to fly through the snow. A very different outcome. And we'll tell you all the lessons learned, what not to do, what to do if you want to fly through the snow a little bit. Now, drone fails were not the only fails today. I was out there to capture the kids sledding, so I'll mix in some shots of some fails by me and some of the best fails from the kids as well as we go. So stick around. I'll be right back to tell you all of what went wrong. Welcome back. Before I go into what happened, let me show you a little bit about what I did to prep this thing. So first up, you might see some plastic tape here around behind the camera. I wasn't worried about the camera overheating because it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit out, and I figured that'll help keep water out of there. I couldn't do much to protect the electronics for the camera, so that seemed like the easiest way. I did put a little conformal coating around the perimeter of the lens as well. I don't want to go too much further than this. I did both sides of this board, done all the boards in the back. This is the stuff I used to conformal coat the boards. Generally, I don't think it was an issue. I'm pretty happy with it. Dries pretty quick, smells a little bit, whatever. So I got in there, all the boards I could get to in case any snow got in there, any snow melted, didn't want to short circuit anything. That was the idea, at least. Got it all put together and was ready to fly, basically. Also, I taped up some areas, just try to discourage snow from getting in around the seams of the battery. Taped up around some areas of the battery. Again, this is not to go swimming. This thing was not waterproof, just to try to keep water from dripping into sensitive areas. Finally, and this is a very important thing, I think, is to prep the drone by putting it out in the cold. So I left this thing out for about an hour, out on my back porch, as cold as possible, the same temperature, obviously it was outside. And what that does is that two things. It gets the humidity out of the lenses. So when this thing first hits the cold, what will happen is you will get some fogging inside the lenses. You don't want that. So the drone's got to be cold, it's got to be prepped for a while, and that kind of conditions the air inside the lenses, gets it all in the same ambient conditions so it doesn't get that shock and fog up. I've had this thing outside for a couple hours, so hopefully it's kind of cold so snow doesn't stick to it too much. The other thing it does is it gets all the plastic of the drone cold enough so that when the snow falls and hits it, it bounces off. It doesn't stick to it. Now, things will warm up in flight. the motors, but they're spinning. Wasn't too worried about them. The battery will get a little warm, some water stick to it, but again, that's why I added a little bit of tape there to add some extra protection. But that is one thing I definitely do recommend you do, is prep this thing by getting it cold for a couple hours. All right, so there you go. I got the conformal coating, I got the tape around sensitive areas that I couldn't protect, and I prepped it by putting it out in the freezer outside for a while. So let's go fly and see how it goes. Oh, it's coming down now.
I see him.
It's like out of my control. Oh, it crashed!
What we like to call psycho mode. Shaking his head and very angry.
There it is. So it went straight up, did return to home, and it came straight down about as fast as it could possibly descend.
With zero regard for what was in front of it.
It is freezing. And then it wouldn't shut off. It turned upside down, did everything. Thing's got a mind of its own, so something's not working right.
Yeah, psycho mode.
Yeah, all right, so as you can see there, I had basically a flyway. This thing just went up and up. I don't know if it hit maybe a max altitude or why it decided finally to stop. I think that's what it was. I think it never knew it really got finished with the takeoff sequence. Problem with conformal coating is it plugs everything up. It keeps not just water from getting out, but also air. And I think what I did is I plugged the barometer. I did cover almost everything. Kind of failed to think about that. I was thinking about GPS, wasn't thinking about the barometer, and so I think it was just constantly trying to get up a few feet off the ground to finish the takeoff sequence, and it never could tell that it went up a few feet. Now, in terms of loss of control beyond that, I'm not sure what happened. I couldn't turn the drone off by flipping it upside down. It wasn't responding to the remote. It wasn't responding to the power button on the battery, so maybe some water got in there. Maybe I damaged the drone a little bit in the disassembly, reassembly, coating process. It's really hard to know, but I think it's just really acting funny, probably because I did something probably with that barometer. So if you figured that out, what I did wrong, kudos to you. Maybe you've got some other ideas you can leave in the comments. Now, in contrast, all the measures I took and the fails, Jack took a very different approach, the do-nothing approach. And you'll see some of the pitfalls with that approach as well. So now I'm going to hand it over to Jack, who flew a similar drone and had some different issues than I did.
So I'm outside here on this lovely winter day to test this Ruco F11 GIM 2. This is also known as the SJRC F11S. Anyway, we're going to test this thing, see if it's any different, and if it's any good. Now, this is not how I'd probably recommend flying a drone on a winter day. Actually, Chris is doing the same thing right now, and he's doing all the things you should to fly in the snow. I'm just gonna fly it in the snow and see what happens. Let's go. Okay, so I'm back from flying this thing outside in the snow, and let me just tell you, not something that I recommend you do. I had a handful of issues with the lens fogging up, the gimbal getting stuck, snow everywhere, cold hands, flying outside in the cold and the snow. Not something I'd recommend you do. Okay, so if you really want to fly in the snow, here's what we'd recommend. One, make sure your drone is the same temperature as outside. Put it in a bucket, cover it so it's not getting snow on it, but just so that it gets to the same temperature, and that's going to help avoid some of the snow sticking to the drone, especially where the drone is warm, and the lens won't fog up as easily. The next thing I'd recommend is taping any seams, right? Cover any areas that water might get in. That's going to help protect some of those electronics. And yeah, yeah, the conformal coating is a good idea if you know what to and what to avoid coating, right? It's going to help protect the electronics, but if you get the wrong sensor, obviously you could have some problems. Now, I don't necessarily recommend flying in the snow or the rain, but if it's something you have to do, you know, it's a good idea to take some of these steps to kind of help ensure a more successful flight. Hopefully this was helpful. Hey, good luck everyone, and happy flying, even in the snow.